We spoke about PSU as PSU stocks, and you said, look, I find them cheap, but I'm not so sure about the government disinvestment policy. Sometimes they were doing ETFs, sometimes they were, doing all kind of nuts and bolt adjustments like HPCL and ONGC. Now that PSU stocks have made a comeback, are they still cheap?
They are. The only thing is that I decide I will invest in them only when the government actually does something. Now the government has reformed its disinvestment program into privatization program, and I'm quite sure the government will now sell its jewels very, very smartly. But Nikunj, I also have limited capital. And before this could happen, I was fully committed and I had the highest leverage of my life and still have it. So, and I'm a person who doesn't easily buy, who doesn't easily sell. So I'm actually so highly committed today. Unfortunately, I have no investment in the public sector except State Bank and Canara Bank.
When you say your leverage, I'm assuming that you have more ideas and less capital.
Leverage means that is always there the day I came to the market. If you give me 5,000 crores, I'll do shopping in a week in the market. But question, I mean, the leverage in terms of the borrowings I have done to invest.
If you have leverage in the market, which means that in the short to medium term also you expect the market arrow pointed higher.
Have you any doubt? Trend is my friend. And there is so much disbelief.
Why is there so much of disbelief?
Well, somebody says, I don't believe in God, I don't argue with them.
This is a point you've been flagging off for many years now, maybe more than 2 decades now, that look at India, foreigners own 20 to 23% of India, who trust India, promoters own 55% of Indian stocks, and Indian investors do not own more than 5%. When do you see that will change, sir? Because DIs are selling and FIs are buying. It's not a great feeling to see when such great things are happening, our local people are not participating.
But if my son doesn't want to study, how can I convince him? Whom will we go to explain? That's their point of view.
One sector where large changes have happened is the entire banking space. Government is talking about privatizing more banks. Big banks have only become big banks. How do you see the dynamics changing for the banks now?
I think first of all, the improvement in profitability and valuations for the public sector and the smaller banks will be much higher than the favoured banks. That is one dynamic which will change. Second, I think is that after all the excess liquidity in India is only 6-7 lakh crores. And the total loan outstanding is 15 to 20 times 6-7 lakh crores. And if we have to grow 11% next year, I see no way we can grow unless and until credit growth is 15%. So I think over a period of time, anybody who can garner deposits, right, will become very powerful and he will have the ability to lend. And his interest margins will go down. Also these public sector banks, and see where there is peak efficiency, for efficiency to come is difficult. But these banks cost to income ratios, margins are at the lowest. So I think if I was an investor, I would choose the PSU banks and the smaller private sector banks.
But what could be the relevance of these banks in today's technology-dominated era?
Every bank has the technology. You go to Federal Bank, you can open an account here, sitting in your office. I don't think the smaller private sector banks are less technology efficient than any of the modern banks. And State Bank is better than most.
Of course, the app, what they've developed is absolutely world-class.
Absolutely.